First of all, a very warm welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Ajaydeep Singh to our podcast episode. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Plus,
Thank
this
you.
welcome comes with a bit of a question as well. Sir, what motivates you to do so much? What is your driving factor?
I joined the Indian Army in 1996
Okay.
from IMA, Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and after my graduation. After that, I passed out and joined the Regiment of Artillery, a year and a half of training in the Indian Military Academy, and then I was commissioned into one of the oldest regiments of the Indian Artillery, and
Mm-hmm.
in '97. Very soon, as you're aware, we had the Kargil War in 1999 and Operation Vijay, which is the official name for it. So
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to participate in Operation Vijay along with my regiment. And we, as a course, as a batch, I'm from the 101 regular batch of the Indian Army.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as a batch, we performed exceedingly well wherever we were, uh, starting from the now very famous Paramveer Chakra, Body Vikram Batra, and also a lot of Veer Chakras and Sena medals and Shaurya Chakras along the way. So
Mm-hmm.
we are one of the highly awarded courses of the Indian Army. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, I also participated in Operation Parakram, which was the large-scale mobilization of the Indian Army post the Parliament attacks, if you recollect, in December 2001, and
Mm-hmm.
that is where most uh, drills and modernizations took place for the Indian Army. I
Mm-hmm.
continued in serving, and I got selected into the Army Aviation Corps, which again is a tough selection and another year and a half of training to learn first flying on a fixed wing plane, then converting to helicopters, and then converting to a combat helicopter pilot. So, it takes a year and a half again for the entire
Mm-hmm.
process. And finally, you get your wings. So the Army Aviation also took me to places where probably nobody goes or nobody's even heard of those stretches except for the few handful of people, men who served there. From the northernmost tip of the country, that is Indira Col in Siachen Glacier, to south, east, and west, all four corners of the country. And it had its own challenges, flying in counterterrorism operations amidst live fire, and handling on-spot decisions, life-saving decisions. So
Mm-hmm.
that gave me a unique perspective towards life as such.
Mm-hmm.
Post that, as I grew in service, I also picked up approximately 5 to 7 years of experience related to whether it was command at various levels or at administrative levels, financial accounting, and process. As you grow in service, you're given greater responsibility, and you are also given various additional duties which are appropriate to or commensurate to your experience. So that is where the financial and administrative duties came along, and I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate to be amongst the earliest in my batch to be given such responsibilities. I've also been posted to instructional appointments and instructional institutes like the School of Artillery in Devlali and the Officers Training Academy in Chennai, where
Mm-hmm.
uh, the only army academy in India where we train ladies or girls to become women officers, right? And post that, I had a tenure with the military police. And again,
Mm-hmm.
for the military police, you have to train and understand how the police functions, how the civil military liaison is to be, taken hand in hand, collaboration with intelligence agencies, police
Mm-hmm.
agencies, and other government officials. So that was my journey of 25 years. In this journey, I was also awarded the commendation cards, which are like kind of national awards uh, in the Indian Army. So I was awarded 4 times. If you, this is just off the record. If you see behind me, You can
Mhm.
see two of them over here, and
Mhm.
the other two are, if I tilt the camera, that is, so one's by the chief and then army commander, and the two,
Mhm.
they are all
Mhm.
the parchments of the award.
Mhm.
So 4 times I was awarded at various junctures in my career. After
Mhm.
leaving the army voluntarily, I picked up an administrative appointment with a
Mhm.
popular university in North India as their head of administration. And after serving some time there, I am now working with a multinational as
Mhm.
head of corporate security and investigations for the country.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this
So,
is my career part. This is
mhm.
my
Mhm.
the career. Now
Mhm.
it comes to the passion, because I was closely associated with leadership appointments. I realized that motivating people towards a more optimistic outlook towards life, to being a
Mhm.
better person in general, and to be able to fulfill their duties as a better citizen of the country.
Mhm.
This is something which is the need of the hour. And as per the feedback received from whenever I used to speak to people and
Mhm.
be conversing with them, uh, they felt that I had the ability. So that encouraged me to kind of
Mhm.
spread my wings further, and I took it on post retirement as a full time
Mhm.
passion. And
Mhm.
I've been very lucky so far to be able to meet good people like you, Prince,
Mhm.
who have only encouraged me further to fly higher.
Well, thank you so much for such a nice introduction, sir. It was as if I'm listening to an audiobook. It has many facets, many aspects of the journey. It was really nice listening to you,
Thank
and
you.
given the fact that you are working in the leadership domain as well, plus as the security in charge, I would like to ask you a bit about this leadership concept. Like often, like common people like me, when we hear about leadership, we feel like it is as if something related to some corporate jargon, wherein uh, people who are in the board are supposed to be leaders. How do we apply the leadership principles, or are they applicable in our personal lives as well? And if yes, then how? Sir, please elaborate a bit more on this.
Okay, so if I just ask you, Prince, uh, what do you think when you hear the word leader or leadership? What comes to your mind? Can you just elaborate a second on that?
So the first picture which comes to our mind is, let's say, either it is a political leader or someone in the board of directors of a company leading the company, taking decisions, or someone standing on the stage instructing people to do something. This is what leadership generally uh, gives an impression of.
Yeah. So actually, a leader is nothing but a person who is, rising to the opportunity and taking responsibility of the present opportunity and its future outcomes.
Mhm.
Right, between you and me today, when we are having this podcast, or a person on ground who is facing a terrorist, or a person who's just constructing a building, anybody who is taking responsibility, not for themselves first, for the team, for the project and its outcome,
Mhm.
is a leader. That's all in a nutshell. So it could be a leader in our daily lives. If you see, our parents are leaders. They've taken the responsibility of bringing us up. They've taken the responsibility of ensuring that you're well fed, you're well clothed, you're well groomed, right? You
Mhm.
have the best outcome. You become a good citizen, a good son, or a
Mhm.
good person. So everybody is a leader in their daily lives. It's just that you don't realize it at most times. Leadership is nothing. It's not a title. It's not really, when you're saying a politician is actually just a servant of the people,
Mhm.
right? He is supposed to be taking responsibility, and to fulfill those responsibilities, he obviously needs some authority, some powers. So those powers have been given to them, and that is how they are supposed to take responsibility for those actions or outcomes for the betterment of the society.
Mhm.
So a leadership position is nothing but anybody who's rising to that occasion and
Mhm.
fulfilling the responsibility of being responsible.
Mhm.
So whether
Okay,
it is
so
a daily life,
yeah.
or in a special situation, A leader is person who's just being accountable at all times.
mhm. So, sir, that really is relatable, because being in a position of responsibility means fulfilling our day-to-day responsibilities. But usually, what happens is, uh, general public, like you are from a military background, so we are definitely from a totally different, I would say, domain. Generally, by and large, the population, which is, we find it difficult to manage the responsibilities which are assigned to us, be them, let's say, related to jobs, or let's say fulfilling whatever the social responsibilities are. uh, it would be great if you can reflect upon how to improve the leadership skills, or how to become better at managing and handling responsibilities, because I believe I have heard of a few terms like prioritizing the tasks, or uh, aligning yourself with your passion, doing something that really aligns with you instead of being frustrated by doing something else that is totally out of sync with your personality. uh, I have heard a bit about this, but it would be great if it comes directly from a person who has done so much in their lives. So that would be great, sir, if you can reflect on how to improve the leadership skills, be it at personal level or at a social level.
All right. So my path to being a good leader is the first thing is awareness, right? You need to
Mhm,
be aware of not just yourself, but you also need to be aware of your environment. So self-awareness and social awareness, these are the two key foundations of being a good leader. Once you are
mhm,
aware of yourself, that means what are you really good at, what are you not so good at, and in case you need to be better in those things, how do you make yourself better in those things, right?
mhm,
Nobody is perfect, everybody is trying their bit, everybody is facing new situations in their lives, everybody is facing new relationships in their lives. Every day you join a new firm, you have new relationships, new power dynamics around you, what is the culture around you, the work environment and everything. So your own awareness is critical, that okay, I am good at these things, these are the things
mhm,
I can hold on to, and these are the things I need to work upon. Okay, so
mhm,
it could be anything, whether it's your emotional intelligence or your critical thinking or your communication prowess, whatever it is. Secondly is the social awareness. Once you're
mhm,
aware of how people around you tend to think and feel, what are their beliefs, you will be able to relate to them easily.
mhm,
Once you're able to relate to them, you will automatically be able to firm in your place in their circle, in their lives. So
mhm,
this is the basic foundation.
mhm,
Now, to build up on your foundation, you need to be adaptable, obviously, because change is the only constant in life. And you also need to be very, 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 I'm underscoring this, very, very, very uh, wonderfully communicative, and you need to have that skill to be able to communicate to each and every person, whether verbal or non-verbal communication. But
mhm,
you need to be absolutely perfect in that. If you're not
mhm,
able to communicate, you will always have differences with people, you will
mhm,
never be able to establish that rapport. So
mhm,
communication is a very, very important principle of leadership. All right.
mhm,
And lastly, emotional intelligence and being
mhm,
open to ideas. I think that is where a lot of leaders do not like that part. But
mhm,
emotionally intelligent people are obviously they're more receptive. They are able to kind of reply or respond in the way that is befitting of a leader.
mhm,
So these are the few tips which I feel a leader, you can be a leader or a leader should have in them.
mhm. Uh, Definitely, sir. And you talked about the term emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
With leadership, we often hear this term like decision making. Leaders are often required to make tough decisions. Uh, and then comes a point of empathy as well. Sometimes we are in a dilemma whether we need to be going with this option or that option, because every option has an opportunity cost. And you, in your journey, would have come across certain occasions wherein you had to take tough decisions. So, sir, could you please reflect a bit more on how to improve the decision making ability? Because often what happens is we get stuck in options which are available. For example, I was working with one of the big fours earlier. Then there was an option to either join a government entity, start my own startup, and then go with, let's say, a teaching domain or in the social media, whatever. Like there are always multiple options available, and leaders, good leaders, are the ones who take the best decisions in the right period of time. So, could you please reflect on decision making abilities of a leader? How could they be improved?
All right. So, my father used to always say, God has always got a plan in his mind, and when he made the human body, he made sure that the brain was higher than the heart, right?
Mhm,
So that is how it should always be to start with. So the key words here are to start with, right? Uh, you must understand your goal, your aim.
mhm,
If you are aware of your goal or your aim, the decision making becomes much simpler. Most
mhm,
of the times, while we may think that we understand our goal, we understand our aim, we do not.
mhm,
Aim is always singular. In the army, we very proudly state that aim is always singular, right?
mhm,
Your goal may be to be, let's say, a very famous YouTuber, for example, but can you aim for that? No. As of now, you can only aim till what you can do,
mhm,
right? What is your aim is, so if you break down your path to reaching your goal, you'll realize that the goal has various bounds in between, various important milestones in between, which you have to reach. All right.
mhm,
I'll just elaborate by an example. So if you have to become a famous YouTuber, you need to get important celebrities,
mhm,
right, onto your show. You
mhm,
also need to improve, for example, your communication skills,
mhm,
right? So to get important celebrities, you will need to get in contact with their secretaries or their media agencies or the PR agencies, right?
mhm,
Again, if you come down, do you have that? Maybe no. So
mhm,
your aim would right now be probably to search for PR agencies,
mhm,
or even closer to that, if you come down, for people who know PR agencies,
mhm,
right? So as of now, while your goal is to become a famous YouTuber, as of now, your aim is just to find out these PR agencies and get in touch with them,
mhm,
right? So understand what is your goal and what is your aim. Aim is always singular. You can't reach your goal without fulfilling these aims. Once you've reached your PR agency, then according to whom you want and what is your budget and other various uh, requirements, you will start working out one by one. Also, if you
mhm,
have to improve your communication skills, you will probably try, let's say, some English speaking course or some other, social media
mhm,
skills or whatever is required for that. So you
mhm,
will try for that. So aim is always singular. Understand what is your aim. A
mhm,
lot of times for your future, in case you want to become a government officer or you want to become XYZ, you will realize that the path is common for a lot of the journey.
mhm,
It's not that it's going to split right now. You will need to be a graduate. You will probably need to be a postgraduate. You will
mhm,
probably need to build up certain skills which are integral to both, right?
mhm,
Once you reach there, and if you feel your passion has increased or has remained high all this while, that is the time you can take a call. You can also
mhm,
take a call depending upon whether both can coexist. For
mhm,
example, I am working full time in a company, but yet I've try and follow my passion and I try and adjust. Compromises always have to be there. You can never have 100% of everything. But that's
mhm,
what leadership teaches us, adaptability. That, okay, fine, if I can do this on my weekdays, maybe on the weekend when I'm free, I can do these things as well
mhm,
and follow my passion. And somewhere
mhm,
along the journey, you'll realize that, you'll be able to make out which priority is gaining momentum, and that is the time you can switch tracks.
mhm. Okay, sir. So I think you said a very interesting thing, and the thing I would like to highlight is goals should be singular because we cannot work on multiple goals at a time. So, what are your thoughts on plan Bs? What happens often is we create a goal in the mind, and if things are not working out well there, then we get sort of a comfort. Okay, I'll can still go with the plan B, and then plan B ultimately often turns out to be worse than what we planned earlier. So, what are your thoughts on plan B? Because we often take it as an excuse if plan A is not working. Okay, if I'm not able to clear an exam, I'll do this. But The other part seems to be easy until we are not doing it. So
Prince, the question what, whether you want to become person X or person Y, depends upon the reason why.
mhm,
Why do you want to become that person? Why do you want to reach that point in life? If
mhm,
your why is strong, you probably will not have to worry too much about this.
mhm,
So the I get you back again, maybe 10 steps. You may know what you want to become, but your
mhm,
aim has to be singular. Why do you want to do that? Why is it, if that push is, really hard, you won't really need to worry about that. Yes, plan
mhm,
B's are required always. In the army they say plans are the first casualty of war. So
mhm,
before the even the first round is fired, your plan has failed many a times, and
mhm,
it's very important to have a backup. But again, I reiterate that in case your why is very strong, you will probably not need a plan B. And if you need a plan B, it will just be a minor diversion to get you back onto the route for plan A. It
mhm,
really will not be required to go off to a tangent totally.
mhm. So if the intensity with which we want something is strong enough, then probably the plan B would never come into the picture because we would be sticking to the plan A itself, being motivated.
You would be,
Uh,
you would.
Answer, like, I would like to know your perspective on the mindset part of individuals. Like, what happens often is there are multiple books written on the power of subconscious mind, the ways we think about things, they actually turn into tangible results. What is your perspective on this? Because given the fact you have been into tough situations many a times, do you think really this thing works? Like the power of subconscious mind, if we read, if we see things that are relevant, would help us build a solid mindset, or is it all just theoretical?
No, I do feel there is a cosmic connection to your subconscious mind, because things enter your subconscious mind only when the why, as I said previously, is
Mhm,
extremely strong. If you genuinely feel about it, if you are able to actually relate to it with every living breath, that okay,
mhm,
this is what I have to do and this is how I must, you know, be on, or I must train myself, or I must, work in this manner, automatically your mannerisms, your efforts, and everything, your mindset changes towards that. And that is where you start picking up those small, subtle hints which have been there around you maybe all
mhm,
these years. But that is where you start picking them up now, because you are looking out for them, you are connecting with them, even when you are not really looking out at that time. Your body, your mind is kind of connecting with the dots
mhm,
available in the universe. So I definitely, yes, feel that if your why is strong, your subconscious mind will automatically, take you on that path and be able to add to what you are doing, your efforts.
mhm. So, sir, as the common dialogue says, a very popular dialogue, अगर किसी चीज को दिल से चाहो, then पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने में लग जाती है. Like it seems to be true in case of mindset, because if we believe something, like by our heart, and if we are putting efforts towards it, we would start noticing things that relate with the picture. Like it is like connecting the dots. Probably
True.
it was decided. Probably it was already pre-decided that some things were bound to happen, due to which it led to so many challenges, and then the end result was this. So,
It's like a, Prince, if I may add, it's like you suddenly getting your car onto a highway, right?
mhm,
Because you know that this is the city I need to reach. So once you're
mhm,
on the highway, minor bumps and obstacles really don't come in your way. And if they do, you just fly over them. You're really not bothered about those things because
mhm,
your inner motivation is so strong.
mhm. Okay, that's really an interesting piece of advice. Plus, sir, one more question. What often happens is people confuse uh, high intensity with a lot of stress and frustration. What happens is, for example, if I'm working towards my goals, I have a busy schedule, I'm always occupied, due to which I am, for example, unable to take care of my health. I am always frustrated. Probably I'm not reaching my goal, or even if I'm reaching towards my goal, the life seems to be frustrating. There's a lot of imbalance in the work life part. The relationships get affected, and we often confuse the intensity. For example, if I'm saying to anybody, I'm working intensively towards my goals, but in the end, I am frustrated from the inside because I'm occupying that professional items into my personal life as well. I'm bringing them to my personal life as well. So how to know that this is the stop point? We need to be stop thinking about or putting in the effort from this side, otherwise it will start affecting us negatively.
So let me just kind of repeat a question. You are looking at a lot of intensity in your daily routine or in your path, which kind of puts pressure on you. Is that
Exactly.
what your requirement is? How to deal with such situations?
Exactly, how to deal with situations that lead to pressure, because often what happens is we are working intensively towards our goals, and the other things which are very important in our lives, like relationships, like the work life balance, mental ability to deal with things, all these things get affected. How to know where is the stop point?
All right. So there are two basic parts of this question, which I would like to answer in two basic ways. One is again going back to what I had said earlier. If you are very clear about the why are you doing this? Is it because of your inner desire, or is it because of parental pressure or maybe societal pressure? If everybody around you is becoming a doctor and your parents have decided that you also should study medicine and become a doctor, as is the very famous meme in a lot of memes about parenthood, wo sharma ji ka beta dekho, uska beta dekho, and and you start getting into that pressure, or your friends start doing well and you may not be doing so well, you know to opt for a particular stream. So if you do that, obviously pressure will be on you, and that pressure would be greater felt because your inner desire or your inner motivation is not matching up to it, right? So it would definitely be felt. And if you are a very young kid or even a college going kid, you will probably not be able to understand why it is happening, and it will create a lot of conflict within you, and maybe an unpleasant situation in your workplace or at your home or and around you. But if you have that desire has come from within you, then it is pressure is actually good for you, firstly, because it is pressure which will actually make you shine, and you will not mind that pressure, to be very honest, because if you have decided it for yourself that I need to have it, even though there is pressure coming on you, you will be actually at peace. I may be sounding kind of a very sattvic kind or sadhu kind of a person right now, but this is actually how it happens. When you are really motivated to do something, you actually feel that pressure is helping you. It is actually pushing you towards your goal even faster, right? At the same time, you will not feel that pressure to be intense ever, because it is giving you a kind of a tailwind. So when it is pushing you towards your goal, you actually find it easier to handle these pressures, right? So there are two. That's why I said there are two kind of things. If you are doing it as per your desires, or as per your motivation, or as per what you feel is correct, it will actually help you. You will actually very very happy when somebody gives you some pressure. For example, if you're preparing for an exam, you really want to clear it on your own, and your friend comes and says, okay, let's do these mock tests. You would either be very happy that हाँ चलो थोड़ा और मिल गया, I'd be better prepared for these mock tests. And if you are being pushed into the same situation, you would really not want to do even 1% extra, and you will probably shun your friend also कि ये हमेशा mock test ले आता है, ये हमेशा और सवाल पूछ लेता है, तो let's just stay away from him. वैसे ही बहुत pressure है मेरे ऊपर. It's like that.
Okay, so the journey becomes interesting if we are actually aware of what the goal is and if it aligns with what we really want to do.
Absolutely. Your passions play an important part.
Mhm. And sir, with this, I would like to ask you one more thing, and the thing is about facing a challenging situation. As you have shared, let's say the challenges become more interesting, sort of milestones, if we are actually motivated to do something. Throughout your journey, sir, you must have come across various challenges and overcome them. Could you please share any one of such challenges which you have come across in which you were in a tough situation, and what helped you deal with that challenge?
See, the military life is beautiful in its own way. There are challenges right from day one when you enter the training academy, and every day you are surprised, and
Mhm.
every day there is a new challenge, because you are dealing with life situations, you're dealing with people around you, and you also have to achieve the organizational goals of being ready for war at all times. So it's not an easy life, but it's a very interesting one. So there are numerous challenges with which every military person faces in their career.
Mhm.
I, for example, we joined a particular we call it company in the Indian Military Academy. The academy is divided into 12. At that time, there were 12 parts. I believe now there are more. So for training, ease of training, and the particular company which I joined in the academy, that had been winning the cross country, which is now known as the marathon, for a number of times. So it had sort of become a tradition to get the cross country trophy to
Mhm.
the company. So all newcomers like me who joined, and even after us, when we were joining straight out of college, right? So I think the second day onwards, we were made to run 12 kilometers every day. So for a person who's not probably run more than 2-3 kilometers in his life, nobody runs
Mhm.
12 kilometers every day unless you are a serious marathoner, and
Mhm.
you are being suddenly pushed into the fire. So the training as it is tough. Apart from that, whenever there is a little bit of free time, instead of rest, your seniors pull you out of your rooms and they say, okay, let's go for a run. We have 1 hour. Let's go for a run. We'll do 12
Mhm.
kilometers and come back. So
Mhm.
that's a challenge in itself, right? It kind of messes with your mind. It kind of messes with your body, your comfort. You're not used to all that, and many other things which kind of
Mhm.
make you an officer in the Indian Army. So whether it is jumping into the unknown, or it is doing things like there are many uh, things which are done in the academy which kind of mold you and strengthen you mentally more. Physically, of course, the regimen is tough, and these are the things which actually make you a leader who is very very flexible, who is very very adaptable to any kind of situation which may arise tomorrow
Mhm.
during times of conflict. Even as an officer, when it was, for example, Operation Vijay, uh, everybody knows the Kargil part. There are also troops like us who were in Rajasthan, dealing with 55 degrees of heat and
Mhm.
sandstorms, and trying to, wrestle against the other snakes and scorpions inside a pit in the deserts and deployed against Pakistan. It's not easy to be sitting in the heat all day and
Mhm.
just waiting for that word of to begin firing across the border. And
Mhm.
similarly, even in my aviation tenure, there were many such instances wherein we were dealing with emotional turmoil, but yet the mission had to go on. Your personal preferences or choices don't matter. It is the mission at the end of it, and keeping a cool mind when everybody around you is, in a state of disarray. You have to ensure that the task or the mission in hand is met with the maximum efficiency, without
Mhm.
losing your own cool and without losing any lives around you. So there are plenty of such opportunities which I think most military leaders encounter in their
Mhm.
careers.
Mhm. So ultimately, it is the end goal that is in mind, which motivates us to take up challenges, overcome them, no matter uh, what the personal preferences are. But for a bigger goal, we have to compromise,
You have
sacrifice, do
to.
whatever that it takes.
If the goal is worthy enough and you believe in that goal, you
Mhm.
will automatically do it, right? We are doing it for the motherland. It is nothing else. There is nothing greater than your motherland. A military person walks across a minefield knowing that the next step may be his last on planet Earth. Yet
Mhm.
he or she walks across this minefield only because they believe firmly that there is no higher goal than giving your life for the motherland.
Mhm. So I believe, sir, all the citizens of the country definitely owe a lot of thanks to the military person for protecting and being on the borders for all of us. That's really something I am grateful to everybody who is serving in any way to the military. Uh,
Thank you.
Sir, just a general question. Out of curiosity, I want to know, since in the military you have to face many challenges, is it a good idea to inculcate some sort of military understanding or some sort of military training in the education system as well, like in the 11th, 12th, 9th grade or so on? Like, definitely we have NCC and all that, but should it be a mandatory training that, okay, students of this to this age must have to go through some military training so that throughout their lives they have all these lessons related to discipline, strategic management, decision making, leadership? What are your thoughts on this?
Prince, I've heard this question before many a times, and before I answer it, I would like to further, query you on this. What are the things which you feel a military person can actually give to the environment or the civil environment, or what are the things which these kids, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, can imbibe from military training?
Sir, I believe, first of all, courage and confidence to face challenges in life, dealing with pressure, whatever the situation is, you have a mindset, I'll go, through it. Plus, discipline, which is a very important factor. Then getting rid of distractions and being ready all the time to face any kind of challenge. You never know, you have to push your limits all the time. So, these are the main ideas I can think of.
You've hit the nail on the head. These are the qualities which every citizen or every person should have. And yes, I believe that discipline and other things which flow actually from discipline are very important to be inculcated right from very young age, right?
Hmm.
And once a person follows a routine, discipline just means following a routine. Discipline
Hmm.
means to be able to do things using your mind without going, off on a tangent, without falling from your main path. So that is what discipline actually requires. And the minute we have people or citizens, future citizens, who are very clear about their thoughts, who are able to follow through on what they say, as they say, walk the talk, who are able to do that, who have the ability to be able to hold themselves even when there are winds swing them the other side of whether
Hmm.
corruption or any other vice. I think we will have a fantastic generation coming up.
Mhm. Especially the Gen Z, which is often entangled with their own mobile phone distractions and everything. Pushing something that inculcates discipline as a habit would definitely be helpful and a good idea. So, what are your tips and some advices on following a disciplined routine? Like, do you have some checklists, or do you use journaling? Do you have specific checklists for a day? Like, how does it work for someone who wants to live a disciplined life?
To follow a disciplined life is nothing else but to kind of have a routine,
Hmm.
right? That is the basic thing. If you have a routine in your life, you will realize that most of the things which you do will automatically fall into place.
Hmm.
Now, it's easier said than done, because to follow a routine, you must first, your external factors also must be able to help you in following a routine. If you're getting free from office, let's say about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, then maybe you can have dinner at 8 o'clock. But if you're getting free on most days at 9 or even later, so obviously you will not be able to follow a routine of
Hmm.
having a dinner at 8 p.m. Similarly, getting up in the morning. So though following a routine is the very basic thing which helps inculcate discipline, but
Hmm.
it's easier said than done, and a lot of external factors do play an important role in this. And also for the Gen Z, I think the Gen Z is pretty talented today. The way they are moving ahead, they're running at double the speed. It's very difficult to catch them. In Whether it's on their mobiles, they are actually multitasking, and they're able to devote their attention to a lot of things.
Hmm.
Some may be productive, some may not be productive, but if we can channelize their energies towards something productive, I think it'll be extremely useful for everybody around us. All these new innovations which are coming up, all the new technologies which are emerging, are all a product of most of these Gen Z minds.
Hmm.
So
So,
routine
yes.
is the basic thing to inculcate discipline. And
Mhm.
once you have a routine in place, even if it is not adhering just to time, but if you have a small thing, like, when you get up and within the first 5 minutes you made your bed, you probably made a cup of tea for yourself and those in your house around you, it forms part of a daily routine. It automatically becomes something which has to be done. So discipline automatically gets incorporated into your life.
Mhm. uh, Even if it means that we are not doing things at the same time every day, but we are at least completing the things we are supposed to be doing every day, depending on the variability of what our daily
Yes,
requirements are.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm. All right, that's really nice, sir. It is a really nice conversation that we're having. I would like to now change the course of the conversation a bit. I would like to now talk about the startup ecosystem of the country, as you are a startup mentor as well. So, what are your thoughts on the current generation? Like when you see people, when you meet people, do you think the generation today is more inclined towards startups, or we are all looking for safe jobs and getting a safe salary and then living an average sort of life?
Prince, it depends upon the fire in your belly.
Hmm.
What is your ambition? Today, the world is easily accessible, right? 20 years before, you were really, really lucky if you went abroad, if you could manage to go abroad even for a holiday. Today, going abroad for a holiday is really not a big deal. Most people can afford it. Most people are able to do it, and they are doing it as well. So, while the ecosystem has got a huge boost in India, and we also have a lot of people who are applying for the government service, or the safe salaried packages. I think it is a personal choice. There are both kinds of people, because the opportunities available today are so many and so easily accessible, that both the things are actually going hand in hand. And there are
Hmm.
people who are, while working, also having their own successful startups, or being able to contribute successfully towards startups.
Hmm. Sir, I was watching a sort of documentary recently, and I was looking at the comparison between the youth of India and the Chinese youth. Uh, they were all involved in innovating, doing new things, and it was sort of a meme as well that the Indian youth spends a lot of their time on Instagram looking at reels and then uh, YouTube shorts, and not spending time on innovating and doing something. Like probably it is sort of a cultural difference as well, because we were never taught to innovate, or encouragement of innovation was never there in the education as well. Do you think we are lacking in this part somewhere, due to which very few innovations come from India? Like we do not have, let's say, any innovative smartphone device coming from India, or anything innovative that we can claim in the 21st century that we have invented.
Lack of innovation is definitely a big problem today in India. But as I said, we have really moved along this entire path. Okay, today
Mhm.
it's just a matter of time. Today we are on Instagram Reels. I agree, it is a bane. Most people are watching YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, but they're also realizing that money can be made. People are wanting that money, that liberty, to be able to do, to be able to juggle with ideas, to be able to work around things and be able to make money. Now, what has happened is, I feel China, because of their policies, was able to create a better environment for nurturing this innovation ecosystem, this entire startup ecosystem. India
Mhm.
has been a slow riser. We also have this problem of, sometimes we are too democratic in our approach, and
Mhm.
that doesn't really help us, in taking the lead. But I firmly believe that states today, I've been working with organizations, states today are pushing their citizens to become innovators, to be able to come up with various startup ideas, and they are trying to do their best. They are trying to hold various competitions. They're trying to give them a lot of sops. They're trying to help them out in whatever way they can. So it's just a matter of time when the present generation, who is presently on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, in a few years, you will see, maybe in just about 5 years, I think you will see a change in this trend, and you will see the newer ones coming up with innovative ideas, definitely.
Mhm. Okay, I am hopeful for that. I'm definitely looking forward to that in our country, because since uh, we have been through this colonization era as well. We were a British colony, and the journey has been quite different from what the Chinese people have been through. Uh, Sir, as an individual, if someone who is, let's say, working on an idea of a startup is at a very initial stage, what would your advice be to such a person? Like, should they be starting right away with the, let's say, product development marketing part? Should they be leaving their jobs to work on this idea, or how to strike a balance? Because starting a startup in India is not encouraged at all. If we simply say to our parents we are starting a startup, they'll be like, why don't you go for a job? So what is your advice on this, if someone who is willing to start something of their own?
Again, it's the why. It's the fire
Mhm,
in the belly. Why do they want to do a certain thing? Why is the why very important? And if it is important, I think they should be able to start it. Yes, of course, ground realities preclude you jumping into something without having adequate resources. But that's true for everybody. Uh, Whether it is money, which is the basic resource, whether it is the right contacts, also to
mhm,
make your startup a success. There are also legal challenges. As I said, the entire ecosystem, there are a lot of other things which get involved. Marketing, of course, team building. When I mentor people on team building, their passion is very high, but when they start to, broaden their base and get more
mhm,
people into their team, uh, the others may not share the same passion, and that is when the idea starts failing. Or instead of increasing their volume, they are actually running out of business. Competition also is a major concern here. There is very strong competition. So
mhm,
yes, I agree that there are a lot of things needed, and parents generally want the best for their kids in the way that they don't want their kids to suffer. They don't want their kids to get into bad times. So that is why parents probably still are our mentality is that first get a job, one foot on ground, and then raise your other foot so you don't
mhm,
fall. But I think the entire mindset is changing, and parents today are much more lenient. While they may not be giving them 10 years to do what they want, but from zero, where it was just a few years ago, where it was just get a job and then proceed with your life. I think we've reached a very long way, and we've taken those initial steps, which are actually the most important steps to allow your next generation to flourish, to be able to get into the zone of having a startup of your own. And that is the reason a lot of startups have also done well. It's because
mhm,
people have allowed them, and they have now become you know idols for the newer generation, the people who are following them. So
mhm,
I don't think we are so backward today in our thinking. It's opening
mhm,
up. I come back again to my statement. Just wait for another 5 years, maybe 6 years, and you will see. Today we have there is a official promotion or the government department of promotion of trade and internal investments. There
mhm,
are more than 1 lakh startups which we have in the country. So there is a reason why we've crossed 1 point. I think we are almost at 1.5 lakhs registered with
mhm,
them. So there is a reason
mhm,
why it has happened. And if the 1.5 lakhs within 5 years, you see they'll be at about 15 lakhs or even more.
mhm. Yes, definitely, because startup seems to be a very common discussion whenever there is a group of students sitting together, friends sitting together. Let's start our own startup. Everybody talks about it, whether they are going to do it or not, but at least the trend seems to be changing. It seems to be a very common word these days. Okay. Uh, Answer regarding the a statement that I read on your profile, and it was about being a warrior and not a warrior. So it is about uh, keeping all your worries aside and then focusing on the challenges you have to face, which often sort of messes up with our mind, because what happens is we are occupied with multiple things, and then it gets difficult to focus right on one thing, because at the back of the mind there are multiple things going on, due to which we often tend to become, like, generally people tend to become warriors and not barriers. So could you elaborate a bit more on how to inculcate that mentality, that mindset in our day-to-day lives, how to become a warrior, uh, and not a warrior.
Certainly. So, as you rightly brought out, a warrior is somebody who can face challenges, right? And a warrior is when somebody goes to fight a war, you don't go with the aim of losing, right? You always go with the aim of victory, that I'm going to emerge victorious. So, if you are focused on the positive, you are focused on achieving whatever your aim or your goal is, and being victorious in that, you've already changed your mindset, correct? That is how
Mhm,
you will be. That is how you will be able to overcome any obstacle which comes in your way. So, the entire crux of being a warrior and not a warrior is that we have to change our mindset. We have to be able to understand what is required, where
mhm,
are we falling short, and how do we overcome those things. So
mhm,
if you come back to our first part of the conversation, wherein I had said that in case the why is important, in case you know why do you need to do this, you will automatically be able to get the answers to the other parts as well. And why do you need to be a warrior and how you can be one? It's very simple. They are the basic leadership qualities. Know yourself, know people around you, and see how you can create a path or carve out your own path from within this entire jungle which is there in front of
mhm,
you.
mhm. And sir, like the fundamental point you've been focusing on is knowing yourself. Like as I can see, you emphasize this point a lot. Like how can an individual know more about themselves? Do they need to create a checklist? Do they need to do SWOT analysis? Do they need to start journaling? Or how does it actually work?
The Okay, I'll give it a humorous touch. Um in case you're married, then you have your spouse to tell you uh, the the pluses and minuses, or the pros and cons of your personality. But jokes apart, to know yourself is, yes, I agree, easier said than done. It actually requires some time to do critical thinking and focus on where you have been successful and why you have been successful. If you are successful today on LinkedIn, let's say, for example, or as a podcaster, why are you successful? Take an honest feedback from people around you. Take an honest feedback from your client base as to what did they find good and what did they think should be improved upon, how we can kind of make it better. So your own thinking about your own self and kind of analyzing it will tell you your pros and your cons. If you're doing well in something, obviously these are things which are your pluses. If you're not doing well as per societal norms or in your own eyes as well, you need to work upon it. So to be able to know yourself is, and it's a constant process. It's not that you've done it once. Maybe a month later or 2 months later, you may want to sit down and just jot down your thoughts again on a piece of paper. You will
Mhm,
have to keep doing this. This is a dynamic thing. It happens throughout your life. Today what you are doing very well, tomorrow you may even do it better, or you may realize that no, I was immature doing that. I may have to change my tactics, and I may have to you know, think about doing it in a different way. So
mhm,
that is how I have been doing it, taking honest feedback from people, being critical at a lot of times of my own self, of how things didn't go well in a particular situation, and where do you think you could have improved. Whether it was my tone, whether it was my emotional intelligence, whether it was uh, my body gestures, or whatever
mhm,
it
mhm,
made a difference.
mhm. Okay, so primarily about doing the root cause analysis of failures and getting feedback from people and being open to critical feedback as well, because often we are not open that much to the negative feedback. We always, generally what happens is most of us are interested in listening to the positive part and not the negative one. Okay, and sir, I would like to ask you about the previous question in which I was saying we are not able to focus on one goal because we are distracted by multiple things in the back of our mind. Today, the biggest distraction we have is this, like the smartphone, and I believe you also would have faced at some point in your life that this is probably occupying a bit more time than it actually deserves. So, sir, what are your tips and advices on how to overcome the distractions, primarily the smartphone distraction we often come across?
I used to be on the smartphone many hours a day, and
Mhm,
like every new toy, people generally are kind of fond of it and want to explore it thoroughly. So yes, I also was. I had also succumbed to the same issue, but I realized it's like a diet. Okay, so you regulate your intake. When you're doing a diet, you regulate your intake. You have only certain types of food and certain quantities of food. Similarly, you regulate your screen time, that okay, it has to be done. I mean, we really can't stay without our mobiles, but I regulate to, like, once an hour I will watch it for just about 5 to 7 minutes an hour. And maybe in my lunch time, I will, post lunch, I will sit for 20 minutes on my mobile. So those are the things, that is how I follow. I dedicate slots towards watching the screen. I dedicate timing, and I make sure that after 9:30 or 9:45 I don't get onto my mobile,
mhm,
unless it's a call. Of course, calls are always taken, but I don't absolutely touch my mobile after that. I just put it on sleep mode and leave it. So these are the ways you can actually declutter your screen time, and make it very, very comfortable to be able to use it, and yet not get overwhelmed by the entire screen
mhm,
time. Weekends, of course, sometimes if you do not have an outdoor activity, or you do not have things to do, you fall prey to it. That's okay.
mhm. Okay, sir, I was reading a statement some days ago, and it was like, today it is easy to be successful because most people are distracted. So if you are able to maintain your focus, keep an eye on your goal, you would be able to be easily successful, because majority of the population, or like many people, are distracted and messed up with distractions. Sir, I think the conversation has been really nice till now. Towards the end, I would like to ask you a question, and the question is about, what is your general advice to somebody watching this podcast conversation if they are facing multiple challenges in their lives at personal, professional levels, handling difficulties, challenges, plus difficulties with time management as well? What would your single piece of advice to be to our viewers?
I'm sorry, I don't have a single piece of advice, but if I can just break it down into minor pieces, the first thing is to keep telling yourself to be positive. If it requires a great deal of effort to tell yourself in an adverse situation that never mind, let me be positive. I'm sure if I've gotten into a tunnel, there has to be light at the other end. So
Mhm,
remaining positive is the key here. Once you are
mhm,
positive, just analyze each problem which you're facing and break it down into micro problems, which will give you your aim, the singular aim which we had spoken earlier. That now,
mhm,
what can I do? How can I kind of eradicate or remove this obstacle from my path? And
mhm,
you will realize that each and every minor problem will be dealt so quickly with, that you will actually be able to reach the end of the tunnel very fast.
mhm. So division of the problems and being positive in negative situations as well. And sir, often this is a bit controversial, or uh, we are a bit confused regarding this. The positive mindset part, should we be considering, like, I know it is a philosophical question, a divine touch to this, that okay, something bad is happening in your life, but you need to be positive, because if you've been sent here to this world, there is a purpose, right? And there's someone who's going to take care of it. Does it work like this? Is there a divine touch in this?
Well, I really can't question whether there's a divine touch or not. I really can't comment on that as well. Excuse me. But you see, the mindset is something. Let's say, for example, I'll take you to my army days, where a lot of us have lost our near and dear ones at a very young age. People who are very close to you, suddenly one fine day they're not there. You are
Mhm,
you're standing with them, and suddenly the bullet finds them instead of you, who's standing 1 foot away, right? And it comes as a blow that I've been with this guy, he knows me inside out, I know him, his family, everything. And He's just 23 or 24 or 25 years of age, and now he's no more. A pretty decent guy, did everything well, never meant harm for anybody or anything. And why did he have to die so early? Now, the question of why is not known to us, so there's no point sweating over it,
Mhm.
right? You can take solace in the fact, by keeping a positive mindset, that maybe he had already done his job, what he was sent to be doing on this planet, and that is why he has been, called back, and that is
Mhm.
why he's probably given this sacrifice for the country. So
Mhm.
yes, it may not seem adequately positive at that time, because there's a lot of emotional turmoil going inside you, but you have to hold on to those little rays of hope, that slight glimmer which is coming through in that cloudy sky, that yes, there is something positive ahead, right?
Mhm.
We really can't question divine intervention. I mean, at
Mhm.
least I can't question divine intervention, whether there is a divine hand or not. But
Mhm.
I like to believe in this way, that, well, maybe there was something greater destined, and he's done his
Mhm.
bit.
Mhm. Okay, sir. I think that that's a really debatable point, and infinite debate can go into this
Yes,
point. But yes, at least we can console ourselves if something bad is happening. That yes, in the past, positive things have come out. This is which we can move ahead, expecting positive to happen in the future. Okay, so sir, it was really nice having a word with you. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. I really
thank you.
appreciate you taking out some time and sharing your wonderful insights with us. It was really nice having a conversation online with you. Probably in the future, if we plan something offline, I would be more than happy to invite you in the future. And with this, we can wind our conversation up. If you have any final message to the viewers, then you can definitely share, and then we can wind this conversation up.
I would just request everyone to remain positive at all times. And in case you feel that you are not able to remain positive, reach out to somebody near or dear one who's around you, to help you see the next path or the next ray of light. I think that is the only thing which will get you through those troubled times.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Plus, sir, I think with this comes a very important point as well regarding the mental health, because often it is considered as a stigma in the society. If someone is feeling depressed, anxious, and if they say to others, probably in our country, the awareness is still a bit lacking. We would say, okay, if you're feeling anxious, just take a break and then do things. We do not know whether that person is actually requiring some help, as from a therapist or so. So. I think yeah, we can definitely talk about this part in one of the upcoming conversations if we plan to do in the future ones as well.
Sure,
So
sure.
till then, thank you so much, sir, for coming and sharing your insights with us. It was really nice having a word with you. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. I am really grateful for your time.
Thank you, Prince, for your initiative, and also for reaching out to me. And yes, I certainly look forward to many more conversations ahead with you. Thank you.